Welcome to the realm where truth meets poetry, where silence finally breaks into confessions woven with golden words. Today, the world stands still as the Crown Prince of Dubai, Sheikh Hamdan, known to millions as Fazza, unveils the truth that has lived in the shadows for years. The whispers of mystery, the hidden muse behind his emotional poems, the soul he wrote about in secret. It was never a young princess or a fleeting crush. It was an older woman, a woman whose wisdom, depth, and grace forever changed the rhythm of his poetry. The revelation struck like lightning across the desert sky. For years, readers had searched for clues in Fazza's verses, those cryptic lines about love that defied time, loyalty that knew no age, and beauty that came not from youth but from understanding. His words always carried maturity, reflection, and reverence, not the impulsive tones of fleeting romance, but the deep, soulful gratitude of a man who had found guidance through affection. And now, he finally confirmed it. His muse was not someone the world expected, but someone whose strength shaped his heart and soul. She was not a figure of glamour or fame, but a woman of profound elegance, someone who carried the desert's wisdom in her silence. Sheikh Hamdan revealed that her presence in his life taught him to see beyond appearances, to value grace over beauty, depth over charm, and connection over perfection. She was older, yes, but with that age came something rare: serenity, understanding, and the power to inspire greatness. It was her wisdom that awakened the poet within him, guiding him to write verses that touched the hearts of millions. The truth stunned the world because it defied every royal expectation. How could a prince, adored by millions, find his muse in someone older, someone outside the fairy tale image of youth and luxury? But Fazza has never been a man to follow the ordinary path. His love was not about appearances or age, it was about spirit. It was about a bond that transcended time, where two souls met not in youth's fire, but in the calm glow of understanding. That was the beauty of it, a love that did not need to shout, because it already spoke through poetry. His fans now read his old poems differently. Lines once seen as romantic metaphors now revealed hidden meanings. When he wrote about eyes that have seen the world, yet still see love, or a heart that teaches patience in a restless age, he wasn't describing fantasy, he was describing her. She was the quiet teacher of his emotions, the hidden chapter of his growth, the woman who shaped not just his poetry but his outlook on love, loyalty, and destiny. Fazza's revelation was not just a confession, it was a message. A message to the world that love does not need to fit into society's molds. He reminded everyone that connection is ageless, and that true inspiration often comes from those who've lived, suffered, and risen stronger. His love story was not built on youth's fleeting glow but on the eternal light of wisdom, something only a rare kind of woman could offer. He spoke of her with reverence, not possession. He described her as a voice that guided my silence, a hand that steadied my journey. She never stood in the spotlight, never sought attention. She was the unseen strength behind his calmness, the reason his verses carried such stillness and soul. She didn't need his fame, she only cared for his peace. And that, to Fazza, was the purest form of love, selfless, quiet, and real. Many were shocked by how open he had become, but those who truly understand his poetry were not surprised. They always felt there was something profound behind his words, a connection deeper than mere attraction. It wasn't about romance alone, it was about reverence. He admired her as one admires art, with devotion, curiosity, and respect. She was not just a woman to him, she was the poetry itself. In one interview-like moment, he admitted that her presence had changed his vision of leadership too. Through her,
as the truth settled into the hearts of his admirers, the world saw Fazza in a new light, not just as a prince or poet, but as a man who dared to speak his truth with courage. This revelation stripped away the golden veil of royalty and revealed something far more powerful: vulnerability. It showed that even someone who stands at the pinnacle of power is still, at his core, human, capable of deep love, profound respect, and quiet pain. The way he spoke about the older woman wasn't scandal, it was sacred. It carried the weight of gratitude, as if he was thanking destiny itself for crossing his path with hers. Dubai's skyline, which once reflected his ambitious dreams, now seemed to glow differently, as though his confession had painted the city with emotion. His words inspired millions to rethink the meaning of connection. For some, his story became a reminder that love doesn't need approval to be real. For others, it was proof that a heart as grand as his could still find beauty in simplicity. The woman who changed him may have aged in years, but not in spirit. Her soul, Fazza said, was timeless. She had lived through seasons, learned through storms, and that resilience was what drew him closer. Those close to him say that after revealing his truth, Fazza's poetry transformed yet again. His latest verses are softer, calmer, filled with acceptance rather than yearning. His metaphors now carry peace, the peace of a man who no longer hides behind riddles. When he writes of the woman who carried the sun in her silence, his audience knows exactly who he means. She may remain nameless to the world, but to him, she is the chapter he will never close. Every word he pens now feels like a tribute, not to romance alone, but to legacy, wisdom, and the rare purity of unconditional love. The woman herself has never spoken publicly, and perhaps she never will. That's what makes their story even more powerful. In a world obsessed with exposure and attention, their connection remains untainted, protected by silence. Her presence lives only in his poems, her voice only in his memories. And that is how Fazza wants it to be. To him, her dignity and privacy are sacred. She was never meant for headlines or gossip, she was meant for eternity, the kind that lives in verses, not in photographs. Critics try to twist the revelation into something sensational, but Fazza's calm response silenced them all. He said, "Love doesn't need validation, it needs truth." With those few words, he reminded the world that not all confessions are meant to shock, some are meant to heal. His honesty gave others the strength to embrace unconventional love, to celebrate bonds that defy rules. In his truth, people found permission to love without apology. His courage turned judgment into admiration, and what was once a rumor became a symbol of emotional freedom. He described her as the keeper of his unspoken words, the one who understood him before he even began to write. And though she preferred to remain hidden, her spirit will